The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the set of my show, The Right Side. Doug Billings here, recording breaking news for you out of Milwaukee. The Missouri GOP grassroots, the true MAGA Trump patriot movement, has won a unanimous decision from the RNC Credentialing Committee. They're back in. The delegates, as you know, having heard this on my program earlier in the week, Missouri, the GOP in Missouri, attempted a coup, if you will. The grassroots conservative Trump patriots had won at their convention in May. They won the delegation. They've been seated and slated. They're set to go. But the swamp in Missouri said no, not so fast. They filed bogus BS complaints, and they've lost. Every once in a while, ladies and gentlemen, miracles happen, and the right side wins. Blessings born from the adversity, the challenge, and the tragedy that we faced in the state of Missouri. And make no mistake, and I'm going to call these people out by name, the good ones and the bad ones, because this is a victory for Trump, Make America Great Again conservatives. And in your state, no matter where you live, I can assure you, you've got the same kind of issues. The issues with rhinos, Republicans in name only, or Republicans who belong to the establishment swamp, who, not unlike their liberal counterparts, will do everything possible to hang on to power, even in the face of obvious landslide opposition. Missouri's grassroots MAGA and Trump-aligned true conservative movement received a landslide victory today in Milwaukee from the RNC. The Credentialing Committee unanimously voted in favor of the Patriots. Good news and congratulations to the Missouri grassroots patriot movement, a movement that has been under attack from, you would imagine, the left, of course, but also from the rhino movement within our party. The swamp establishment rhinos lost today. And so just a few details about this. These are the kind, again, of these are the things that we need to pay attention for. A lot of people were praying that the right side would win here, that justice would be served. And we did. It was. Prayers were answered. So I want to take a minute to acknowledge that. Thank you, Lord, for the answered prayers. It goes to show you that oftentimes this mess that we're in, that's filled with challenge, adversity, and tragedy, if we give ourselves a moment to center in what I call determined prayer and determined patriotism, we will see the blessings that are waiting to be born. And today we have seen it quickly. Granted, miracles don't always happen so fast, right? And blessings aren't always born so quickly out of adversity, challenge, and tragedy. But this week, in only 7 days, we've seen the results. It's a decisive victory. It's a final victory. There is no other appeal. The grassroots have won. And I want to call some people out, some of the good guys first. Kobe Cullins. He's going to be on the show tonight at 5:15. I hope you tune in. You can watch the show on any of my social media platforms, on dougbillings.us, the website, YouTube, and X. But we broadcast live 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. Tonight, Kobe Cullins, a key player in all of this for our side, for the right side. I've reached out to other people as well to be on with him, but Kobe is really the main guy, really. Done a lot of work behind the scenes. Now, he'll be quick to point out that he had help, and he did. There are enemies of the right side. There are enemies of true conservative. There are people who claim to be conservative, but because of their lust for power and their entrenchment within the swamp and the establishment, they identify as rhinos. They are not what the founding fathers had in mind. They are not what Trump has in mind. That's exactly what we saw from the Missouri GOP leadership in Missouri. In May, the Missouri GOP had their convention. Resounding landslide victory for grassroots, but the Missouri swamp said no, not so fast. Under the current Missouri GOP swamp leadership, there's Nick Myers, who's the chairman, who also, by the way, lost his reelection bid in a landslide defeat. Nick Myers should resign immediately from the Missouri GOP. There's also Carrie Almond, who is a member of what's called the Contest Committee, one of the initial committees where grievances are heard. Carrie Almond, once she knew that Nick Myers was going to lose his slate of delegates in their Missouri State Convention, began to collude with him and conspire with him to help Nick save some face and some pride, and to save him the embarrassment of having to go through and witnessing a landslide loss. She said, just go ahead, withdraw your slate, because you know what? I sit on the contest committee, and I will lobby for you. I'll sway that committee so that they vote in your favor and that you can get your slate of delegates in. And that's exactly what Carrie Almond did. Derek Good, another member of the Missouri swamp establishment. Now, Derek is an attorney, and the reports that I get, at least, are claiming that he is an attorney who happens to work for the law firm that represents the Missouri GOP. Can you spell conflict of interest, Mr. Good? So Mr. Good, on his official letterhead, in his attorney letterhead, writes a complaint, or says he writes a letter to the Missouri GOP membership and says, I'm going to file a complaint. I don't like the results of the slate elections that we had in our Missouri convention. I'm a sore loser. I'm going to make it known. And so he writes this complaint. He files it. Of course, it's bogus. And he'll be quick to say on social media, well, what rules am I breaking? I'm following a report. You guys are the ones that broke the rules. Not according to the landslide victory that we received today from the credentialing committee in Milwaukee. Derek Good was saying, we didn't do our credentialing correctly. We gotta find a way to get this MAGA, true Trump, grassroots, patriot delegate slate wiped out. I know. I'm an attorney. Let me put some pressure on some people and write an elegant letter and try to convince them that there was a credentialing issue. Abject BS. He's one of the reasons attorneys have such a bad name. It's beyond just breaking rules, ladies and gentlemen. This issue is slimy. The Missouri GOP is slimy, and quite frankly, they are illegitimate and immoral in what they have done to try to wipe out this grassroots patriot slate. And the lengths to which they have gone demonstrate the depth and the width of their immorality. Then there's a gentleman by the name of Gordon Kenney, a rhino through and through, swamp creature, who, along with Carrie Almond, will dare to say that they're Trump endorsed. Wrong. What they did was they gave some money to the Republican National Committee, and a staffer put a picture of President Trump through the printer, lithographed his autograph on it, sent a letter out saying the same thing. Thanks, Gordon. Thanks, Carrie, for your support. And the lithograph signature from Trump. All right. President Trump doesn't know who these two people are. I can promise you that. So this is what they do. This is like liberals who mix lies with the truth. And Carrie Almond and Gordon may say, well, look, I've got a picture with President Trump. Never mind that it was taken at a big event with lots of people. It's not as if they sat down and had a policy discussion with President Trump. It's a photo op, and they put it out there as if they know President Trump. Same kinds of things, the radical left, mixing lies with the truth. Very deceptive and thoroughly immoral. Then there's Dan O'Sullivan. Now, Dan O'Sullivan is a minion and a useful idiot for the radical liberal swamp establishment who snakes his way around the room, tries to make backroom and sinister deals to subvert the will of the people and the true conservative Trump movement in the grassroots within the state of Missouri. And he'll do everything he can to try to undermine that movement because he, too, demonstrates rhinoisms because he doesn't want to let go of the sense of power that he feels. It's the only place in his life where he's had friends, I'm sure. Chris Howard, who we saw in those video clips that Kobe Cullins gave us at the convention in May. Chris was a parliamentarian, sat up there at the front on the table, and when the landslide victory was announced for the delegates and for the new rules and so forth, Chris puts his head down and raises his hands. Where's my establishment? Where's my swamp? Why aren't you guys speaking up? And then he half-heartedly starts to applaud the landslide only because he's right there on stage in front and he'd better clap or else he would look the fool. Not that he meant what was behind the applause. He just had to do it to save face. And then there's Ben Baker. Now, Ben is a representative in the state for Newton County. I believe that's District 160. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's 160. He's a lay minister. He's a missionary. It's even more disappointing when you know that about Ben, because of the immorality and the sinister activity that he's engaged in with regards to trying to subvert the will of the people in the state of Missouri. During that May convention, Ben was involved in all sorts of shenanigans and backroom dealings and outright lies that were designed to impede, delay, and defeat the landslide members of that victory movement, the Missouri grassroots, Trump-aligned MAGA conservatives. And Ben Baker did everything he could to try to hold on to his reign on power within that committee, within that convention. They failed. We have a lot of work to do in the state of Missouri. You have a lot of work to do in your state. A lot of rhinos to root out, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be too nice about this victory. Be humble in your approach, but be vigilant and determined in your work to root out the rhinos. The swamp is deep. There's a lot of work yet to be done. And now that we have new leadership in the Missouri GOP elected, true conservative grassroots MAGA patriots, and there's new leadership in the Missouri GOP. David Leitner as the chairman and Miriam Mohammed Khani as the co-chair. They are true grassroots patriots, Trump-aligned patriots. And they will get the Missouri GOP back in shape and now guide it so that it can be more effective in its ability to root out the rhinos. We've also got to make sure that David and Miriam have our support with regards to vetting candidates. Anyone who wants to run as a Republican must be vetted. That R behind their name on the ballot must be earned. It is not a gift. They must have true conservative MAGA values and principles. Far too long, there are Democrats who know that they can't win in their districts, who put the R behind their name without being vetted. They get into office and they vote with the radical liberal mob. No longer. Vetting. It is a must. And if you are out there and you hear anybody say, well, I'm not going to do that. Who's going to decide who vets? And that's nonsense. I am against vetting. That's a member of the swamp, ladies and gentlemen. You get together with your Republican committee men and women in your state and county and determine what is the vetting process. Look to Missouri for a template. If you don't have one in your state, they have a very thorough and robust vetting process whereby candidates can go through that, get the R up behind their name, and then apply to be put on the ballot. Otherwise, Republican committee men and women will not allow and should not allow anybody to be listed as a Republican on the ballot, and they have that power. Vet. If you don't vet, you're either blindly part of the swamp or you're vastly intellectually immature. Finally, I want to give a shout out to the candidates who came on this program earlier in the week and voiced public support for the Missouri grassroots Trump-aligned patriots. Bill Eigel, running for governor in the state of Missouri. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Eigel is a template for a candidate running for the governorship of any state. If you live in Missouri, you need to vote for Bill Eigel, a true Trump, MAGA, Missouri first, America first candidate. Articulate, passionate, one of the best public speakers that I've ever seen. He's gifted, and he's on our side. Bill Eigel, look him up, BillEigel.com. He came out publicly. And I might also note that zero of his opponents running for governor, Jay Ashcroft, Mike Kehoe, the two primary ones, they did not come out publicly in support of the Missouri grassroots movement. Then there's Will Scharf. Will, I'm proud to say, is a friend, as is Bill. Will is running for the Attorney General position in the state of Missouri. Will Scharf is a Trump attorney and a very visible Trump attorney. You've likely seen him on the legacy media news outlets during especially the time of the lawfare that was being waged against President Trump. Will came out publicly, and his usual charismatic, passionate, and articulate manner voiced his support for the grassroots movement in the state of Missouri. And finally, Denny Hoskins, running for Secretary of State. in the state of Missouri. Again, publicly admits there's voter ID issues, there's election integrity issues. He will work to get rid of the machines and return to hand counting of ballots. Exactly what any candidate, but especially a Secretary of State candidate, should be saying. Denny Hoskins came out and supported the Missouri Trump grassroots movement. Cheers to him. So it's a big day for the state of Missouri, ladies and gentlemen. This is important for all of you. You don't need to be in Missouri to view this with interest. Share this, share it far and wide, because what happened in Missouri can happen in your state as well. Stand firm, unite together, vet candidates so that we can begin to enact legislation within our states that will further our agenda, because after all, that is where our change happens. Forget Washington, D.C. Look to your local levels. Vet the candidates in your states. That's the answer to all of the big issues that we face, from abortion all the way to the border issues to everything else that we face. It's not the federal government. Don't look to the federal government to ban abortion or do. Look to your local legislators, and you must vet them. Get them in there so that they can enact laws that will limit, if not eliminate, things like abortion. You get my drift. This is why I support these candidates and these grassroots patriots, because it's at this level where we begin to take back our republic. And after all, at the end of the day, what we are doing as grassroots America First patriots is reclaiming this republic for the divine providence of God and the intent of the founding fathers. The swamp establishment in Missouri and across the country is not in favor of that. They cannot be. They will say they are, but they don't and can't be. Not if they're going to try to pull off a coup d'etat like they did in Missouri, squelching the voice of the people who rose up in landslide tsunami fashion to root out the swamp. Hold the line, ladies and gentlemen. Pray. We will meet in determined prayer and determined patriotism. Today is a good day. Enjoy it. Enjoy the convention, Missouri grassroots delegates. I'll be watching you on the television. I hope to hear from many of you. Enjoy this day, and tomorrow, let's get to work. God bless you, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.